Why is there like a double entendre S
Oh,
randomly in the
that is so
sentence?
perfect. It's so perfect. It's so AI. I love it.
Yeah.
Excuse myself. Ex-
Oh, is that?
excuse,
I almost missed that. You're right.
excuse myself. Yeah, and turtle juice. Did it come up with that on its own? Turtle juice?
I don't know. I didn't make it. I wish I
What does
could
it
tell
say
you.
on the hammer? What does it say on the gavel? Turtle
Piece,
piece.
piece, pieces, turtle pieces, maybe turtle
Oh, it's
pieces.
so funny though.
Because it's got to be right. Because he's about to smash a turtle, the poor little turtle. But wait, it also doesn't make sense because isn't he like on Lynette's side and she's the turtle?
I don't know, but it's funny.
Yeah, it is. Fraud Wrangler Kid YouTube member. There's a story there. We won't get into it right now. How you doing, brother? Volpe Fox says, "Guess you get the ramen money today. Love you both."
The
Uh
ramen.
oh,
I keep
oh.
telling you not to send the ramen money.
Read it, Larry. Read it. I don't know what I'm reading. Um. So the Hales are going to be live today at 5:30. Yes, and they're getting arrested finally. But listen, I love Jeremy.
Court docket is Preston.
Oh,
Solid.
whoops. Here.
Uh,
Okay, got it.
I got it. I paused it. Yep. He is a good, solid homie, but sometimes he's like he likes to what is it called? Clickbait. He likes to
Clickbait.
a little bit. So
And by the way, there's nothing wrong with clickbait. It's a way people
exactly.
get people to click on their stuff, and like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily, just because you see a title on something does not necessarily mean that what's in the content reflects what's in the title.
Exactly. But I hope he's right. I hope he's right. I don't know. I don't know the doings. I hope it happens. It's building up anticipation. Hashtag buckle up. Hashtag it's the law. The law is for you, Lynette. The law is here. All right. Are you guys ready to get started? Let's get
I
started. This is
am.
hearing number 5, right, Megan?
Hearing number 5. This would be the most recent hearing that we've seen. So yeah,
Let's go. This is February 28th, 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
Hales 38 2023 DR 416. Mr. Silverman, if you and your client could take the table to my left, your right. Shock it, the other one.
You shall build a turtle fence. Do you remember that? Auto-tune the news.
All right, let me set the record. We're here in the matter of Lynette Preston and Jeremy Brian Hales. This is case 38 2023 DR 416.
Okay, wait, Larry.
The
I gotta we gotta make a bet going forward. Let's see. We have to bet on how many minutes it's gonna take Judge DeThomasis to recite the entire record of this case. I'm going with I'm going with I'm going with 45. We're gonna spend 45.
Wait, how long is the
45.
whole video?
I don't know. How long is the whole video? I can't tell on this thing.
No, I can't
But
either.
all of these are an hour and a half at least. So I'm gonna go with, and this is just part 1, by the way. There are 2 parts to this.
It's 49 minutes long. Do you want to change it? Do you want to change
Oh,
your
I
bet?
may have to change my bet. If this, well, maybe not though, because this is only part 1.
Oh, how many parts are there?
2.
2. Oh, so, and how long is the other part? Do we know? Probably about the same, I
The
imagine.
other part is let me see if I can tell from the file. Part 2. I can't tell from the file. It doesn't tell me. But let's see. I'll open it in Media Player and see if it can tell me. All right. The second part is only 2 minutes and 44 seconds. All right. So part 1 is really all of it. All right. So I may have to change my bet. Let's see. I will go with 16 minutes. 16
Okay.
minutes of recitation of the record.
Check the private chat real quick.
All right.
16 minutes. Okay. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna match you. I think it's about the same. Just a gentleman's bet.
All right, let me set the record. We're here in the matter of Lynette Preston and Jeremy Brian Hales. This is case 38, 2023, DR 416. The matters for which are on the court docket include an amended order scheduling hearing, 19, motion in limine, January 24, motion to terminate deposition, February 9, motion for protective order, February 16, motion to dismiss, February 18, motion for sanctions, February 18 as well. Each of those are in the amended order scheduling hearing. There was a prior order scheduling hearing from February 20th that included all but one of those motions. The additional one was added so we can resolve it. The case is otherwise scheduled for final hearing on Friday, March 1. Intervening and needing to be addressed also is a motion for stay of the trial court proceedings, filed today's date, February 28 at 9.
So just to recap for the people who may not remember what happened since it's been a couple of weeks, Randy and Doreen filed a third motion to disqualify Judge DeThomas just a few days prior, like a week and a half, because he denied the second motion to disqualify February 14th, Valentine's Day. And then they filed another one shortly thereafter, after another hearing. Or maybe there wasn't even a hearing in between. I can't remember. But anyway, they were waiting for the judge to rule. And the judge, sua sponte, said all parties must appear in court in person on February 28th. And there is, because the trial was rescheduled from March the 1st, which was a Friday. This is on a Wednesday because this is a leap year. We had February 29th, which was a Thursday. So February 28th, they're all summoned into court at 9 a.m., 9 o'clock in the morning. Court is at 1 or 1:30, okay? 9 o'clock in the morning, Chad. The defense, excuse me, the respondent's team, Jeremy's team, reaches out to the court. Because we went over this on my channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, read the description. All the links are in there, or go to the playlists. They're all in there. They still did not have an answer. Is the judge recusing or disqualifying himself or not? So they poked the bear. They poked the court clerk and were like, hey, we have a hearing in 3 hours. We just want to know, like, what's up? Like, is he stay? Should I stay or should I go? Like, what's going on here? And so they poke the bear. Within a few minutes, this is how dirty and sleazy and slimy and scumbaggy this judge is. He already had the canned order that I am denying the disqualification. 2 pages. It was 2 pages. Again, we went over it. Check out the playlists. 2 pages. I'm not disqualifying myself. Already in his back pocket. It may have been written the weekend before, may have been written the prior week, but he sat on it intentionally. This is why I'm calling him all these names, because he intentionally sat on it, because the minute they poked the bear, boom, they were like, nope, not recusing myself. Here's the order. But because they knew of the judge's, shall we say, propensity for dishonesty.
Yeah.
They Jeremy's lawyers, Randy and Doreen, already had a canned motion to stay proceedings pending the ruling from the Supremes on their writ of prohibition, which has yet to have been drafted at the time. And so they ask the minute, I mean, they're literally 8 minutes apart. Judge did not like that. Judge did not like that one bit. And I believe we're about to hear what's going to happen. So I don't want to spoil it, because you're about to hear how angry he is at the fact that he got called out on his shit. And he's like, well, my shit doesn't stink. Yes, it does. And when you get called out on it, yes, it makes you uncomfortable. And he doesn't know how to handle it, because so they poke the bear. he's like, okay, here you go. I'm not recusing myself. Let's go. See you at 1. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, motion to stay proceedings. Boom, 8 minutes later. Literally, it was like 9:27 to like 9:35 was when Randy files Doreen's motion. It is just the sexiest thing I've ever seen. And let's see how the judge reacts.
55 a.m. If I can, I'm going to just start on the right here. If you guys can just all identify yourselves for the record by stating your full name.
Doreen Euclides, Shotgun Law Group, counsel for Jeremy Hams.
Oh, and one last piece. Why is Doreen in there, right? Doreen has never come to a hearing. I'm surprised they didn't call Mark Feather into the courtroom, because he said all attorneys must be present. And I swear to you, a source of mine sent me a photo. I wonder if I can find it.
No, he actually did call for Mark Feather to be there, by the way.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
He specifically asked for Mark Feather to be there, which is crazy because Mark isn't on the case anymore. He isn't co-counsel. He isn't anything.
There, can you all see this?
What is it? I can't determine what it is.
It's a toothbrush.
Oh, it's a toothbrush.
One of the lawyers was bringing a toothbrush with them to court because they thought they were going to go to jail today. They thought they were going to be held in contempt because this thing, remember.
Oh, that's funny.
This thing exploded. I mean, it's funny to us now in hindsight. Can you imagine what the lawyers were going through in their minds? Because I had Jeremy on the 22nd. I got the threatening voicemail that I'm going to get a bar complaint on the 24th. Here we are 4 days later. This is the first hearing post social media explosion of this stuff. And, the judge, I don't know, they were afraid that the judge might, lock their asses up in jail. That's why they were bringing their toothbrushes. I know, I can show you and verify that this is legit, that this is actually from their attorneys. I'm not going
That's
to.
Funny.
I don't have to prove anything, but I swear to you, this is straight from their attorneys. I'm like, that is so cool. That is so fucking funny. And again, in hindsight, it's hilarious. But I can imagine. Okay. Full disclosure, we fight judges all the time. You know this, Megan. And in my practice, and one time I remember, on more than one occasion, my former associates, Chris and Evan, would be like, "Hey, Larry, I'm gonna need Evan to come with me to such and such county." And I'd be like, "Why? What's up?" Well, because Evan needs to bring his checkbook. Bringing your checkbook is key word for I might need bail money after I yell at the judge for things that he's supposed to do that he didn't do, and he may hold me in contempt and lock my ass up, and I may need bond money.
Oh, man.
That's real. It's absolutely real.
Hales. May it please the court, Randy Shockett, Shockett Law Group, Trenton, Florida, on behalf of Mr. Hales.
Joshua Silverman on behalf of the petitioner, Lynette Preston.
Lynette Preston.
All right, thank you. Give me just a second. All right, it would seem prudent for the court to address the issue with regards to the motion for stay. The court has received and reviewed the motion. As I understand the motion, there is an intent to consider or to file a petition for writ of prohibition. The court docket, which I, before coming in here just a little while ago, confirmed that there are no other pleadings that were filed since, but I just want the record to be clear. Is there a writ of prohibition that's been filed?
No, Your Honor, it's being prepared.
A petition for writ of prohibition.
A petition for writ of prohibition is being prepared. It's not quite ready yet. And the rules allow this, the case law allows us to advise the court ahead of time when there's such imminence coming with the first. So that's why we did that in the exercise of caution. Mr. Silverman has agreed to it as well with the continuing the TRO.
Well, there may be consensus, but I want to hear from both counsel as to why the court should exercise discretion, because it's styled as a motion to stay, which is a proper nomenclature to use, but effectively it's also a motion to continue and delay the proceedings. and the totality of the circumstances would include, at a minimum, that the respondent has been represented by counsel for 3.5 months. For more than 2.5 of those months, he's been represented by 3 separate attorneys, 2 within the same law group, 1 from a separate law group.
Nobody
And
cares.
has asked
Standard
for
stuff.
continuance and has been granted a continuance on November 29, December 1st, December 5th, January 4th, and now we're here again on a 5th motion to continue on behalf of the respondent, while at the same time, the pleadings include and the history includes complaints about delay in the proceedings, among other things, and it's kind of inconsistent with asking, in effect, for another continuance.
Your
And
Honor,
so I
maybe
wanna-
heard
I
on
wanna-
that, maybe heard on that point.
Yeah, I want, that's what I'm saying, I want
Yeah,
to hear
okay.
from you on support for your motion to stay,
Absolutely.
which effectively continues the matter.
Okay, thank you, and we do disagree with the court on the characterization of how many continuances we've asked for.
Whoa. Did you notice that change in tone, Megan? Randy is already
Yeah.
like, I've never seen him disagree like right out of the gate like that.
Yeah, he definitely stands up for himself way more in this hearing, which is good. But I think he's just really used to treating this judge in a certain way because he's like walking on eggshells around. You have to like play up to his ego. And, you can only push somebody so far though before they're like enough,
The record, and you've got appellate review
Right.
if the court's wrong about that.
Well, but
You've
the
got
record
remedy.
reflects that on the 29th of November, this case started at maybe 2 or 3 hours into it. The petitioner was in the middle of her case. There had to be a continuance. There had to
Well,
be a continuance.
but your co-counsel represented to the court that he needed minutes to complete the entire case without
15
additional
minutes.
discovery, without additional grounds for continuance, and then there were, and now 5 continuances despite those representations. And I know you take issue with the court bringing that up again, but that's the inception of the case, which would have been done by the court saying November 30, the next day at 9 a.m., we'll reconvene so that your client wouldn't have a temporary injunction necessarily hanging over his head. In fact, your co-counsel said he was so sure that with just a few minutes of time, the court would be dismissing this. And then the other side of you guys' mouth is saying, we need another 5th continuance.
Your Honor,
So I
if I-
don't understand how it could have been done in minutes.
What?
But
No.
now, 3.5 months later.
And by the way, that is an
You won't
incorrect statement of the
recuse.
facts.
It is.
Because there was a bomb threat, one of them. There was another one that he did not have time. There was another one that I believe Lynette. So like there were only like 2, maybe 3 actual requests for continuance. So
She
despite the
didn't
fact,
show up for her deposition, so they couldn't be ready for hearing because she didn't show. She canceled. She walked out on the second time. She walked out and didn't finish, and then he didn't make her finish. It's not. And Randy's going to say it. I don't know if I missed it, but he's going to say it was all them. It wasn't us. So quit saying that like we caused all of these.
and for a judge who's like, I like all my dates and I like all my times, and at 5:47, 32 seconds and 51 milliseconds on Tuesday, March 1st, when it was very cold outside, I remember, because I went out for a walk. It reminds me of a story, Mr. Shockett. I went out on this walk for a while, and I remember this tree, and I looked at this tree, and the tree looked fascinating because there was a finch in it. And like, what are we talking about? Oh, we have a hearing. Never mind that. Let me tell my story. Like,
Oh God.
Stand still or
If I
going
could-
backwards?
If I could continue without interruption, Judge, I really want to get what you do. I want to just tell you what there's 2 different views here. The case had to be continued. I haven't seen an official transcript, but my impression of what I saw was, and I could be corrected, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Feather had witnesses here, and he said he would like them to go out of turn because she was in the middle of her case and it may take 15 minutes. I didn't hear him say, I need 15 minutes for my entire case. I thought he wanted to just have them go out of turn. But then there was this issue it's regretful to watch what's going on here, December 1st.
It's regretful
December
to
6th,
watch
and
what's going
November
on
30th.
here.
I don't know what happened there, but it clearly got set, but it had to be continued until the 6th. So there was no request for
I
continuance.
found good cause for the continuance, so I'm not,
Right,
I'm
but
not
we didn't ask.
reconsidering that. There was good cause in each of those. It was
Again, Judge,
granted.
I really would like to finish, because this is really important.
Oh man.
No other continuance in this case. We're here almost March 1st. No other continuance of this case. And please let me finish, Judge. Nothing has been caused by us. Every single continuance in this case after December 6th has been responsibility over there. She missed her deposition on December
Yeah.
21st. She didn't show up for the 21st.
There it is.
Your Honor made a written ruling, required Mr. Hales to explain why he couldn't be there the next day. Orally, you did the same thing for her as to why we had to continue on January 4th. There's been no inquiry. Nothing's been shown why Cook's deposition was missed, why hers was missed, although you verbally asked her to do it. So we got to the 4th, and it was not
Let me
because
just
there was a
ask,
bomb
that's
scare.
part of to address the
bomb
motions
scare,
that are on
yeah.
the court docket today.
Well, you're
Still
asking for the
interrupting after
history of
being
it, so
asked
I don't
not
want
to
be
interrupt.
couched that we're the ones asking for all these
Larry, have you ever
continuances.
had to beg a
We are
judge to
here.
let you finish? Please, Judge, let me finish. Please, Judge, let me finish.
Not like that, but the one that was turned into a short, it was a very heated back and forth because again, the judge was interrupting me. I was also, in a way, I guess, interrupting the judge because we're interrupting each other because I was trying to say my piece and she was trying to say her piece, and neither of us wanted to relent. And of course, in the middle of my speaking, the judge goes, "What I'd like you to do, Mr. Foreman, is I would like for you to stop interrupting me." And I was like, and when she said that, I was like, okay, this is going to be like this, huh? I was not scared at all. I was like, really, Judge? You're going to pull this card? Oh, you just turned yourself into content. Thank you so much. And I sat down and I said, Your Honor, may I have a moment? And as I open up my bottle, and she's like, Your Honor, may I have a moment? Excuse me, I take the fall, always take the fall. People don't know how to handle kindness and humility because they're like, oh, I got the upper hand, I'm winning. What they don't realize is that I'm judoing their asses in their in my own head. I am flipping the script because when you start to be kind in a heated situation, that people don't know what to do with themselves. They're like, I won, victory, and then they're like, wait a minute, did I win? And that's when that switch flips. That's when. So I'm sitting there and I literally go, Your Honor, may I have a moment? And I'm opening up my water bottle and I go, your emotions are high. May I have a moment? And she looks at me and she goes, I suggest you do, Mr. Foreman. And I'm just like, it's quiet in the room. I achieved what I wanted. I wanted silence. It worked, right? That's all I wanted. I wanted silence in the room and I wanted the floor. And I got it by being kind. And people are saying that was a good short. Yeah, because it's also turned into a short. And I'm opening and I'm sitting there and I sip my water bottle and I sit there and I'm like, may I speak? And she's like, go ahead. And I very quietly, very somberly say, Your Honor, this court is completely stripped, I love that word, of jurisdiction. According to such and such law, you do not have jurisdiction over this case. You do not have jurisdiction over my client. So please stop it. And let's basically come back. She would not relent. She just kept hammering. Now, you said, Mr. Foreman, when you left the courtroom, and she's right. She said, is your client going to be here? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I did say that. She's not lying. I did mislead her in a way, but she's trying to mislead me procedurally. I just misled her with a couple of words. So I'm sitting there by myself and she's like, you said your client's going to be here. Where is he? And I'm like, he is nearby. But he's not in the courtroom. You said he's going to be here. And then this is where I unleashed. I said, Your Honor, there are no motions pending before the court. This case is not scheduled for trial. You do not have jurisdiction. And I couldn't finish my sentence. She just interrupts me and she goes, all right, we are rolling this, which is key term for you win. I'm going to pick a new date.
The thing is, I've watched a lot of trials. I have rarely, if ever, seen a judge interrupt one lawyer like this over and over. Now, I've seen a judge interrupt. I've seen a judge interrupt lawyers on both sides. If they're going over and he wants to say, well, hold on a minute. But I have never seen a judge target one lawyer in the case like this. Like we had a counter at one point in one of these hearings of how many times that he was interrupting Mark Feather. I think it was in the first hearing. And it was insane. Remember, we were hitting the beep button every time he interrupted, and we never hit it when he was talking to Silverman, not once. I've never seen that before. This is like the first time I've ever seen it. So I don't think it's actually very common. I think it's kind of rare.
Extremely rare. Yeah,
Mhm.
my situation was one of a kind for me. I'm trying to think as deep as I can in my head. Usually judges are very, very respectful. For some reason, at the time, not anymore, but at the time, because she's still on the bench, at the time, she just had it out for me for whatever reason. I still, to this day, I have no idea what her beef was with me, because it all goes back to, this is now at the time, February 2020, right before the pandemic. We're literally 2 weeks away from the world shutting down. We just didn't know it yet. And 2 weeks before that, like around Valentine's Day, beginning of February, my associates came to court. And because I was the one who was going to do the jury trial, my associates came in and they're like, "Yes, Your Honor, we have to file a motion, da da da." And she just out of the blue goes, "Where is Mr. Foreman? Why is he not here?" And I think I had one or two associates in the room, and they're like, kind of look at each other, or look down, and they're probably like, "I'm here on behalf of Foreman and Associates. We have a rule, by the way. Let me show you the rule. Kentucky Revised Statute, associates may appear. I think it's like Rule 29. I forget. It's hard to find because it's not one of those very common rules. But associates may appear on behalf of firm. I forget what it is because we looked it up. It's like chapter 29 or something. Maybe, or wait, no, I don't know. Maybe chat can help me out because I don't have time to do legal research in the middle of a live. But maybe while I'm doing the hearing, we're watching the hearing. I mean, there's a rule that allows associates to appear on behalf of the firm. You don't have to have the named partner show up
Right.
at every court appearance. I mean, that would be
Right.
ludicrous. Imagine if you had a firm of 250 lawyers and 5,000 cases, and you have like 1,000 cases a week.
Oh, but if you did that in front of this judge, he'd lose his damn mind. I wanted Mark Feather here. Why
Mhm.
isn't Mark Feather here?
Exactly. It was kind of like that. Why is Mr. Foreman not in the courtroom? And that's where it all spiraled out of control. Because I did show up at the next court appearance because I'm like, what the heck does she want from me? Is she trying to scare me? Like, I've never had this before. And so I'm like, okay, cool, fine, whatever. And I was like, all right, so is
Isn't that the
what's your
whole
beef?
point of having a team? Like the whole point of having a team of lawyers is so that you can manage your schedule well and not miss hearings and have to reschedule things, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think Legal Vices wants to join, doesn't he? Let me send him the link real quick.
Yeah, he can't. I mean, he can. He's free. So if he told me he
Yeah,
was willing, if we wanted to have him in here, and of course, I always love to see the law racks.
hell yeah. No, I sent him an invite. Yeah, I sent him the link. So Legal Vices, if you're hearing this, come join us. So yeah, no, I'm anyway. Let's keep watching. I'll try and find the law if I can.
Because of the behavior over there since December 6th. No other reason. Every continuance has been forced on us. So we're not here asking for another continuance. The reason why we're asking for this today is because it would all have to be redone if the first DCA issues a writ. Why waste everyone's time? Why do it? Why not just wait? We're willing to have the injunction remain in place until the date of the final hearing. So that's to prevent work that doesn't need to be done without objection, in fact agreeing we should wait. That's the basis of the request.
Anything further?
Wow,
Mr.
he's just like,
Correspondent.
is that all you got?
You can, oh, no, it's fine.
Okay. Mr. Silverman.
Your Honor, to be clear, my client does not agree to the granting of a motion to stay these proceedings. What I have clarified for Mr. Shockett and for the court, I did reply. I know it's unusual, but given the motion was filed this morning, I felt it best to offer a reply to the court. I did send an email to Ms. Hagan, copy to counsel. I don't know if that's been provided to the court, but what I can tell the court,
It is not.
what I can tell the court, my understanding is in federal court, which I don't practice in, they do a lot of advising the court by letter or email. I know it's not done in state court, but because of the late notice, that's the way I did it this morning. What I set forth in that email is that my client would not consent to a stay. but my client would consent to a continuance of all pending matters in this case, including the hearings that are set for today and the final hearing on March 1st, with some caveats, and I will outline those, Your Honor. The first would be that the temporary injunction must be extended during any period of continuance and until the new final hearing date in this case. My understanding is that Mr. Shockett, on behalf of his client, agrees to that proposition. The second would be that if the First District Court of Appeal, or I guess presumably the Supreme Court, if it got that far, were to grant the petition for writ of prohibition, my understanding of the law is that a successor judge has the ability to revisit any rulings this court may have made. However, as part of her agreement to a continuance of the pending matters, my client would insist, and again, I believe there's agreement from that side of the aisle, that there would be a stipulation that the issuance of the temporary injunction will not, under any circumstances, be one of those rulings that is subject to review by a successor judge, if there is a successor judge, if a writ of prohibition were to be issued by the appellate court. Generally speaking, a party in litigation can waive any right, whether it's contractual, statutory, constitutional. There's a case directly on point. It's called Kilpatrick v. McLuth, and so essentially Mr. Hales would have to be waiving his right to have any successor judge revisit the issuance of a temporary injunction. The third would be that there would be no stay issued by this court.
Oh, he's taking notes. I just realized something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this might be the first time I've ever seen him take notes while Jeremy's counsel is speaking. He has actually been. Do you think he's been? Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Wait, no, that's
Silverman
not
is
Jeremy. That's
speaking.
Silverman. No.
Holy shit! Never mind. I was just gonna give
Almost,
him,
Megan.
I was gonna
Almost
give
had
him
it.
some credit for taking it seriously, but it's Silverman.
But
Look at how
accidentally
he
just
does
called
this.
him out again.
Look at how he does this. Has he taken notes yet once while Randy was speaking?
Not once that I have seen, unless chat can correct us. I have not seen him take one note one time. He always holds his pen ready to write, but he never writes.
But he never writes. But look at how he's writing now. I thought Randy was talking, but no, it's Silverman again. Is this man just taking his direction from Silverman? Is that why he's furiously scribbling whenever he speaks?
I think they're in bed together. I'm sorry. It's a figure of speech, fam. Like not like that. You know what I mean? But
Not
seriously,
actually in bed together. Well, I hear that DeThomasis though is an old school hippie, so that's also a possibility. I mean, you never know.
don't hate, bro. Love all around, except in my courtroom.
He's a very big Grateful Dead fan. Did you know that?
I did not know that. How'd you figure that out?
Yeah, I have sources, Larry. I have
Oh,
sources
fair.
everywhere. I
I-
have sources everywhere.
I was just curious if maybe you saw him in a Grateful Dead T-shirt and like.
No, actually, this came from his conversation with Ron DeSantis when he was appointed. So he allegedly, reportedly used his love of the Grateful Dead and Ron DeSantis's love of the Grateful Dead, because apparently Ron DeSantis is a huge Dead fan. And that's how he ingratiated himself with the governor, even though he's very far opposite politically as the governor of Florida. I don't think Ron DeSantis, after this case, I'm starting to think that DeSantis is not as smart as we would like him to be.
You're just
and-
figuring that out now?
Yeah. And he has bad taste in the people he appoints. And this guy knew that Ron DeSantis was a Grateful Dead fan. Can you imagine appointing a judge because he liked the same band you like?
Oh man, I don't even want to think about it, Megan.
I can't imagine doing that. I mean,
No.
yeah, deadhead judge. He's a deadhead judge. That's
No.
funny, chat. It's
Here's-
just weird to me. Like, why wouldn't you talk about more substantive things?
Like, no, because your political affiliation doesn't matter. How you rule doesn't matter. Your character and fitness doesn't matter. The fact that you support sex offenders doesn't matter. You like Grateful Dead? Hell yeah, bro. You can be judge.
Right. What is that? Why are we run by morons? Why is everyone in power an idiot? If I were appointing a judge, I would want to see hours of his cases. I would want to watch him on the bench. So I would ask for that. I would ask for videos. I would ask for hearings just like this, so I could assess what this judge is actually like. I would like to read his decisions. I'd like to read his orders. I'd like to see a sampling. I'd like to hear from people who like him and people who hate him before I ever appointed a judge. That's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be asking him about some concert he went to in 1969. Who cares?
The summer of '69 brings back memories.
Maybe that's why he keeps going off on Mark Feather. Maybe he's having flashbacks, and that Feather triggers them.
maybe. Oh, okay. I'm gonna create the Thomas's origin story. Are you ready? It's the summer of '69. The Thomasis is 19 years old. He's going to what was the festival?
Woodstock.
Woodstock. Thank you. He's going to Woodstock with all his buddies. You know, he's in college. He's getting ready to go to law school in a few years, and he's there with all his homies, and he's got his girl under his arm. At least he thinks it's his girl. She actually is just using him for the free weed she's about to get from him. And the Thomasis is there, and they're listening to the music, and everybody is like passing joints, maybe having a little mushroom experience. This was like, but the Thomasis is not, he likes the natural stuff. He's like, no acid for me. I'm just going to stick to the natural stuff. Right. Because they're like, hey man, you should do a hit of this acid. This is good shit. And he's like, no. I'll take a dab of mushroom, but I'm not going to do a dab of acid or whatever. And, he's just sitting there, they're listening to music, they're jamming, everybody's having a good time. And then this girl passes by, and he's like, wow, man, I would like to get my feet wet with her. You know what I'm saying? And little does he know, in 40 years, she's going to be in his courtroom, and that's Lynette Preston walking past him. And he's like, he's back, and, and he's just like, he's jamming, he's having a good time. And then it's nightfall, so everybody's going to sleep. So he goes to bed, and he's asleep. He's sound asleep. And all of a sudden he feels a tickle on his foot, a very unpleasant tickle. He's using a feather to tickle his foot, to tickle him awake. And he jars awake. Feather! What is this? No, don't like it. This is 19-year-old Thomasis, mind you. So he's had it out for feathers for like the next 45 years.
And then one day, Mark Feather walks into his courtroom.
So that's why he's having flashbacks to that tent at Woodstock. In the tent, yes. That's the origin story of Craig the Thomasis.
The chat's making fun of you for saying a tab of mushrooms.
Tab of mushrooms?
It's a tab of acid, Larry. Get it together.
No, but he's like, I'm not doing a tab of acid. I'm doing mushrooms. Did I say tab of mushrooms?
You said tab of mushrooms.
I'll have a tab of marijuana, please.
He'd be like my dad. He would say, "Are you doing the weed? Are you doing the weed?" I'm like, "Dad, you don't do weed. You smoke weed." He goes, "No, are you doing the dope?" I'm like, "No, you smoke dope, Dad. You do."
Can I get a shot in the arm of some marijuana? Oh,
my dad used to say really hilarious things. He'd be like, "Let me see between your toes." I'm like, "Why would you want to check between my toes?" He goes, "Because that's where they shoot up." And I'm like, "Shoot up what, Dad?" He's like, the heroin or whatnot. Let me see your toes.
Speaking of heroin, hey, Vices.
I would just like the record to reflect that at 59 minutes and 21.5 seconds into this broadcast, I joined the stream.
Self-announcement. I love it.
44 seconds.
Judge the Thomasis may have met his match of narcissistic egotism.
And if it hadn't been for that delay on November 30th, I wouldn't have to be here right now.
Dude, I love the hat, bro. Where did you get that hat?
From Miller. I get all my cowboy hats from Miller Hats in Texas.
Miller Hats in Texas. And they ship it to Korea? Dude, that is a dope hat. I need to get one of those.
Yeah, that is a cool hat. That's one I don't think I've seen before. Is this a newer one?
Last August, I got it when I was at Anime Matsuri there in Houston. I went to the mothership. I visited the mothership, and I was like, I came all the way from Korea to visit the hat company. I've been buying hats from you guys for 20 years. He's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he's on the phone like, oh, Stevie Nicks will be here tomorrow night for. Oh yeah, all right. I'm like, all right. He doesn't give a crap if I came from Korea. He's got Stevie Nicks coming to his shop tomorrow. So, yeah. I was humbled. I thought, okay, I'm not going to. If he's got Stevie Nicks coming, I'm not getting an endorsement deal out of this. So
That's funny. Glad to see Legal Vices in the house. All right, let's get back to the video.
Jeff,
I'm
have you
just gonna
seen
assume
this?
Oh,
Have
sorry.
you
haven't
seen this one
5
yet?
I haven't
Oh.
seen 5 yet. I'm just
Well.
assuming that an hour in and I haven't missed a thing.
You
other-
haven't missed anything.
No, you haven't. We just keep going. Because I keep doing a dab of mushrooms here in the back
Yeah.
when nobody's looking. You
Yeah.
think this is green tea? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
Mo.
Judge-
Mo,
Judge
Mo in the
Gallagher.
deep end raid. Hey, Mo,
Hey,
thanks
Mo.
for the raid.
Hey Mo, thanks for the raid. What's up, Mo? I don't
Just
know
in
if I-
time
do I
to
know
watch
Mo?
Judge Gallagher like breaking walnuts and cherries with his gavel up there.
You don't know Mo? Mo is great. Mo in the deep end is
Oh.
unbelievably great.
I
She is
remember-
criminally undersubscribed, this
Yeah.
woman. She is so
What?
funny.
Wait,
She
whoa.
has a Lynette Preston wig and a Lynette Preston, she does a Lynette Preston impression that is absolutely hysterical. I love her.
What's her channel name?
Mo in the deep end.
Mo in the deep end YouTube.
Yeah, she's seriously
Oh,
good
she's
people.
she's
I'm gonna do-
hilarious.
Oh, we gotta feed this woman some subscribers. Here, stop screen, present. Here we go. This is her. Mo in the deep end.
Criminally
1.5? No, guys, come on. Let's get it to at
Criminally.
least 2,000. Like right now, we have
She is
3,000
so funny.
people in here. Go subscribe. What kind of content does she do?
She will make you pee your pants laughing. She's that funny. So she does newsy news. She does crazy news stories. She
Oh,
covers
there she
court,
is.
She covers court cases. There's her
There's her,
Lynette
there's her line
wig.
thing.
See her Lynette wig?
Is that? Oh my god, I want to watch this. Oh wait, it's muted. Hold on, let me zoom up real quick. Mo in the deep end. What the hell's working on the voices? But lie better net wig was a success.
And all of the mean stuff going around the internet. John, get away from the window. Is really, really mean. I am here for the turtles. And everyone is being so mean to me. You are not a nice person. You are not a nice people. I am here for the turtles. And you guys try to make fun of me. You are just killing another turtle. Oh, I'm sorry. My kid just fell. I have to go. Say that all of the mean stuff going around the internet. John, get away from the window.
Oh, that's it. It's repeating. Oh,
Oh,
my
God.
god. Are you? That was
Oh, Mo is-
amazing.
I love
Is
her.
she new? She's got to be
No,
new.
no. She's been killing it for a long time, but she's just criminally undersubscribed.
No, she needs more.
She's not a
subscribers,
lawyer.
man.
She's a lay person. I met her during the Kowalski trial because
Mhm.
she actually has CRPS. This is someone who has this terrible pain syndrome. And so she had a really good insight into that case. That's how I met her through Nicholas Starro. And she just became one of my favorite people on YouTube. She's very funny. So she's covering the Delphi trial. She's
Mhm.
she covered Donna. She does a hilarious Donna Adelson impression too. She has a Donna Adelson wig that is,
Mm.
oh my God, it's funny. She
I
does
love her
jail calls.
studio.
She does jail, Donna calls from jail streams. She's so funny.
Oh, she's such a good person.
Yeah.
I love her studio. It's just so artistic. You see that over there? I can't even hover my mouse over because it'll like start playing the video. But is that her drawings or did she purchase those? Because they look really cool.
I'm not sure. We should ask
They
her.
look like posters. There they are.
But she is hilarious, and she is so criminally undersubscribed. You guys go subscribe to Mo in the Deep End. She will make you laugh.
You can't un-F a cluster F.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
Mug.
Nick Staros. That's Nick Staros' motto.
Oh, is it? Oh, so she
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
Nick.
Yeah, that's how I met her through Nicholas, and I mean she is so funny.
That's awesome.
I love her so much, you guys. If you don't know, she
Day would
covers
arise
all the things
if-
we watch.
Yeah, definitely go subscribe to her. Let's see, what is she at now? She's already at 1.8 7.3. We're working on it.
yay.
She already got like 300 subscribers.
Appellate court
Yay.
issues an order to show cause directed to my client to respond to the petition for writ of prohibition. That would be Florida Rule of Appellate Procedure 9.100H. And then the last thing I indicated was a caveat on my client's agreement to continue these proceedings is that by agreeing to a continuance, my client is not, I repeat, is not waiving in any way, shape, or form any arguments she may have either in this court or in the appellate court that the petitioners, or rather the respondent's petition for a writ of prohibition is untimely or has been waived implicitly or otherwise, given the lapse of time since the court first entered an order denying.
You lying fucking snake, Silverman. You guys don't know this, we just caught him in a flat out betrayal of Randy and Doreen. Those of you who don't know, my inside sources tell me that Randy and Doreen had an agreement with Silverman that he's going to basically not object to this continuance and just kind of say, look, do what you got to do. I understand your situation, blah, blah, blah. He is now literally telling the court that he's essentially not okay with what is happening here, whereas he previously said, oh, I'm not going to object. Everything's going to be fine. That is so slimy.
Motion to disqualify the first time and the second time. So she's not waiving any of those arguments. My understanding is that Mr. Shockett and his client are in agreement with those provisions. And if that is the case, then for a variety of reasons, my client would be agreeable to continue today's hearings, to continue the March 1st hearing that's set for Friday, and to allow a reasonable period of time for Mr. Shockett and his client to file the petition.
Okay, so now he agrees. He backtracked.
I agree, concur with everything was said. He can make any motions he wants up at the first. That's true. He's not waiving anything.
What about the issue of the temporary injunction not being reviewable if it's remanded back?
We'll stipulate. No, the temporary injunction will remain in place until the date of the final hearing unless this court does otherwise.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice.
We're not going to challenge it. We agree that it will be in place until the date of the final hearing, whenever that is.
Yeah, whenever that
Two
is.
things on that, Your Honor. One is, I'm okay
Could be
with
9
that.
months from now.
That's a slight tweak to what I had set forth. The caveat I placed on my client's agreement was that any successor judge could not revisit your decision to issue the temporary. The temporary would remain in effect through the final hearing. If the first DCA, for whatever reason, denies the petition for
Yeah, he may very well die of old age before it
Your
becomes
Honor remains
permanent.
on this case. I don't think that provision needs to remain necessarily in effect. If they file an appropriate pleading and ask you, Judge Thomas, to reconsider the temporary, I think that you should be able to do that. What I am trying to avoid, however, is a new judge coming in and vacating the temporary and potentially prejudicing my client. She's not going to agree to continuance under those circumstances.
But
We will
last night,
stipulate
Larry,
that,
The second thing,
you read that temporary injunction was supposed to be for a period of 15 days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And-
Did you see the live last night?
Yeah, 15
Yeah.
days. I was
that's
blown
pretty
away by
standard.
that. And then he's allowed to, continue it, but he has to find good cause. I have not seen one good cause in any of this to continue this injunction because she never gave him any evidence. So what is his good cause? And he's continued it now how many times? He's extended it, how many times?
Great
Well, see,
question.
I agree with the argument that it should have been thrown out the day she ghosted the deposition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what about when did this start? When did the injunction get put on him?
December 4th.
Okay. So from December 4th, it is now, what day is today? March 15th? Oh
The
my
Ides of
God.
March, Megan. This is the day. Today's the day that Caesar was
Today.
assassinated.
Today's the day. So that is at least 30. So that's 2 extensions in December you would have to have had, 2 extensions in January, 2 extensions in February, and it's coming up to the next extension in March.
Yeah,
How
like
many was
7.
that? 2,
7
4,
extensions.
6, 7. 7 extensions.
Yep.
Has he found good cause? Was there a good cause argument made? I've never heard of one.
Nope. He never asked for one because he's just unilaterally sua sponte, without ex parte, you name it, just making these. And you
All the
can't,
Latin
again,
stuff.
the rule that we read last night, let me pull it up again real quick. It was 742, I think. I forget. hold on, let me go through. I have to go through my history. But anyway, the rules said. I remember the rules said ex parte. You can do it. This is what confused me. I thought at first it was like if the other party's not in the room, because that's usually what ex parte means. But in this case, it meant like the judge ex parte, meaning without any of the parties present can do it, which is, again, it's sua sponte, which is Latin for of the court's own accord without anybody asking to do it. It'd make more sense if they use that language. But anyway, so the court, sua sponte, ex parte, whatever you want to call it, can just create a temporary injunction if they believe that there is enough in the record to show that stalking has been commenced. And the problem is it's so subjective.
There's nothing in the record.
There's no objective standard. Well, Megan, he's basing it off of the 383 pages that...
Yeah, but there's nothing in there that suggests stalking or cyber stalking or any of the sort. It's all protected speech. It's all protected activity. And any judge, he's a damn moron that he hasn't seen it.
Yep. And he's using the law in his mind, basically, to create this whole debacle. Let me find this.
Well, that's what I've been saying from the beginning, is that he's not judging. He's still a law professor. He's teaching. He's giving a lecture. He's not adjudicating anything. This is just like listening to your evidence professor or your criminal law professor giving a lecture. That's all this is.
Yeah, and he got upset. Here's his evidence for stalking, by the way. Here's what Judge DeThomas has used in order to put the injunction in. It was the day he got angry because he realized that Jeremy makes his money on YouTube. That was what made him angry.
He's like,
Jeremy has the nerve to make money on YouTube, and that is something. And because he's making some money making fun of Lynette and mocking her ridiculous behavior, her ridiculous public behavior, her forward-facing ridiculous behavior that she posts online, he makes fun of it, and the judge doesn't like it.
Well, the judge has his own failed YouTube account, so he's just bitter and nasty about it.
How many subscribers is he up to now? 15 and not 1,000 people. He was like at 12 people. He might be at 15 people now. He's as bad as Lynette. That's why him and Lynette see eye to eye, because they both have 2 to 12 followers.
They believe that they should be successful on YouTube without having the skills necessary or the character necessary to do it, or putting in the work necessary to do it, and they're upset with someone who does.
Here's the statute that we read last night. The video is on my channel for the folks who want to see the full reading. You might want to skip to like minute 25 because it took me a minute to get it started as we were just catching up on stuff. But you're welcome to listen to all that as well. But if you want to get to the meat, that's minute 20.
It was a good stream, and it was good to look at the actual statute. And this, you would think, I would like to know, I think a great research project would be to look up other judges who have extended injunctions like this and see what their cause was.
Oh,
I've never heard of anything extended like this in my life, though.
Yeah, me either.
A 15-day temporary order extended for months, and I've never heard of it. I mean, Larry does far more courtroom than I do. But have you heard of anything like this? I've never witnessed anything like this in my life.
Never.
Oh, and guess what, Larry? I didn't tell you this, but I didn't tell you this either, Jeff. I just ordered a hearing from the 8th Circuit with all the players involved from 2021. We've got Mark Feather, we've got Judge DeThomas, and Silverman all arguing the opposite side of an injunction like this. So it's the opposite. And guess what?
An injunction.
Requesting. So it's Mark Feather's client who wants the injunction and Silverman's client who doesn't. And according to what I think happened, I'm not deep into it yet, but it looks like the petitioner, she had filed for an injunction against stalking in Puerto Rico and didn't get it. And Judge DeThomas decided immediately that he wouldn't give it to her either because Puerto Rico denied it. And he said he had no choice. So interesting, because Ohio gave Jeremy a stalking order, right? But the judge said he couldn't do anything about it. Ohio has nothing to do with him. That he can't just take Ohio's word for it, right? He has to take Lynette's word for it. Isn't that interesting?
Very.
So I'll have
Mhm.
that hearing whenever they send it to me, and we're gonna watch that on my channel when I get it. And I also have the documents from that case, which I'm gonna go over. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he behaves in another case that's similar.
There is, I think I know the case you're talking about. Is that like from September 10th, 2021?
It went to court on December 1st or 2nd, I think, of that year.
I think we'll talk behind the scenes because this is very sensitive and classified information that needs a lot of redactions, and I can't even share it on screen right now because I found and it has been shared with me some things about this judge. We may be talking about the same thing. We may be talking about different things, but
I'll put the name in the private chat so you know the case.
okay. So yeah, here it is. Florida statute 784.0485 on your screen. This is section 5C of the statute. Any such ex parte temporary injunction is effective for a fixed period not to exceed 15 days. There it is. It's in the statute. Now, there is exceptions. Full hearing shall be said, which has happened when the temporary injunction ceases to be effective. The court may grant a continuance. So the court may grant a continuance if there's good cause shown by any party, which shall include a continuance to obtain service of process so that Jeremy is served, etc. An injunction shall be extended. So it must be extended if it is necessary to remain in full force and effect during any period of continuance. And the judge has not put anything on the record justifying.
How is it necessary? How is it necessary?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. There was never any explanation, no justification, nothing.
Nothing has happened to this woman. Nothing. Jeremy's done nothing to her.
If anything, she's done everything to him.
Why is it necessary to keep this temporary injunction, which is so restrictive against his constitutional rights, for so many days now? 7 extensions. We're talking about 6 to 7 extensions.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the video.
Ask is that
I'll be right back.
I would ask if
Okay.
the court is inclined to go along with the parties' agreement to continue matters, that Mr. Hales be placed under oath and that the court conduct a colloquy with him so that his agreement to these provisions is placed on the record under oath.
It's fine.
So, Mr. Shockey, do you wish to be heard on the issue that, in effect, Mr. Silverman is characterizing that I should...
And by the way, just for the record, Vices,
Yeah.
I don't know if you may have missed it or just to tell the chat. What the judge just heard is that Randy and Silverman, finally, like 10 seconds ago, they both agree. We have no objection to continue the March 1st hearing. Just continue it. Give us time to file the writ of prohibition, please. Give us time. Both lawyers are in agreement. There is no objection from either side. Okay?
effectively view the motion to stay as a motion to continue rather than a motion to stay, and in effect deny it as a motion to stay the proceedings, but to continue the evidentiary hearing scheduled for today and the final hearing scheduled for Friday.
That's not what I heard him say.
No, that's what I heard.
That's not anything like
I'm
what he was
asking,
saying.
Since,
Nope.
again, my client will not agree to a stay, I think that has certain legal...
Boom! Betrayal number
What?
2.
What?
My client will not agree to a stay. He just said he will, and now he's backtracking again.
He just
Fucking
did.
slime bag, man. Sorry.
3 minutes ago, he just did.
Let's listen to it again. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I just
Oh
can't
my
believe what I'm
God.
hearing. Let's go back. We got to hear this thing straight through. Let's just pay attention. This is fucking insane. I'll try to keep my cool. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
So, Mr. Shockey, do you wish to be heard on the issue that, in effect, Mr. Silverman is characterizing that I should effectively view the motion to stay as a motion to continue rather than a motion to stay, and in effect deny it as a motion to stay the proceedings, but to continue the evidentiary hearing scheduled for today and the final hearing scheduled for Friday?
That's not what I heard him say.
Well, that's what I heard.
I'm asking, since, again, my client will not agree to a stay, I think that has certain legal implications. My client will agree to continue everything.
Everything.
The only stay would occur if the appellate court issues an order to show cause or otherwise issues an order directing this court to stay the proceedings, is the way I interpret the rules of appellate procedure. So I have no objection to the court accepting and treating the motion for a stay as a motion for a continuance. If they want to, or tennis amend that motion to be a motion for continuance, I would have no objection to that. But again, for the record, my client objects to a stay, but not a continuance.
And he agreed to a stay behind closed doors. He agreed. My sources tell me he agreed, and I believe them. That's the problem. He agreed to a stay, and now he's like, well, no. We can just style it as a motion for continuance. But that's not what the lawyers want. That's not what Randy and Doreen want. They want a stay so they can file the writ, give us a week. That's all they're asking. They're asking for 7 days. The Vices, when was the last time you asked the judge for, like, listen, judge, I can't get it done today. Can I have 7 days? What does the judge normally tell you if you've been to court? I don't know if you go to court a lot.
Okay.
Judges will look at me and say, I'll give you 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I ask for a week, they always give me 3. That's standard.
I mean, especially if the other if other counsel doesn't put up a fuss about it.
And what's the difference, Volpe Fox? Very good question. So a stay of proceedings means like everything is frozen and nothing is happening. There are no new court dates until a party files a motion. A continuance means it's not frozen. There is a new court date. They're essentially, in this case, they're kind of synonymous. There's no real legal ramification. But Silverman is trying to look like big, all high and mighty in front of his client, I guess, because he just agreed behind closed doors maybe a couple hours prior to this hearing that he's not going to object. And now he's like, well, I'm objecting to you calling it this versus calling it that, whereas before there was zero conversation. And again, my sources tell me this is his MO. This is typical.
That's just
Silverman.
scummy. That's just
exactly.
Scummy and
It's just
dirty
not.
and
This is not how you do. Like, we're all a community, man. Like, we're not here to fight. We're here to make peace.
Well,
even
see,
when you're on the other side of the V.
Someday Silverman is going to be asking the other side for
exactly,
and they're going to go,
shout it from the rooftops, Vices. That's exactly what's going to happen.
I mean, especially in the big cities, you may never see your opponent ever again in 20 or 30 years of practice. But if you're in a tiny little county like this, you'd have to work with these guys on literally every other case. And you're a dick once, and it's going to come back and bite you right in the ass.
Yep, exactly. And this will be remembered not just by Doreen and Randy. Every lawyer in town is going to be like, do not trust this man. And next time he moves, well, sorry, buddy. You had your shot and you shot it.
That's why I'm raising the issue, and I initially couched the stay as effectively a continuance. Mr. Silverman is saying it ought to be amended and be handled as a motion to continue and not a stay. The stay implicates issues of jurisdiction, and I can't confer jurisdiction or provide jurisdiction, as the case may be. It's set out.
What does it mean,
rule.
provide jurisdiction?
You have jurisdiction during a pending petition.
Of course he has jurisdiction.
That's in the motion. You have jurisdiction, even if the first ECA is considering. Now, they could issue an order to show cause. That's true. But what we're saying is, and it's really substance over form, it doesn't matter what you call it. We're asking that no further proceedings, absent emergency, unforeseen things, all pending matters that are pending now, be continued until the First District Court of Appeals rules on the petition. Obviously, you have jurisdiction to hear, God forbid something happens. You still have jurisdiction during a pending petition. The court loses jurisdiction during a pending appeals. That's true. Even non-final orders if they accept jurisdiction, but this is not jurisdictional. A petition for a writ of prohibition is an original proceeding in the appellate courts. It's not what we think of as an appeal. So this is necessary to some extent. But you have jurisdiction, concurrent.
So here are the totality of the circumstances that are of concern to the court. And proceeding under 9310, the subsection A, the decision to stay is discretionary to begin with.
I just realized. Hold on. Megan, are you simul streaming this shit?
What? Who, me? What? I don't know what you're talking about. What's that? What's simul streaming? You know I don't know how to push the buttons.
You're medium smart. Apparently today you're
Wow. The coin has dropped so quickly.
how the hell did you sneak this past me?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't do it. It's probably my producer. Right. It's the producer.
Pass the buck on to okay.
It's
Department
IT
of
goatee Brad.
Transportation, Megan Fox.
Did IT goatee Brad fuck around with the settings? What are you doing, Brad?
Damn it, Brad.
Damn it, Brad.
No, you can't pass the buck on this one. I just somebody's what?
I dropped a hint with the what is it? Yeah.
Can you?
I missed it. I missed it. What goes around comes around. I will take it. That is hilarious.
Hey, at least I'm here contributing to your stream.
And at least I'm not getting yelled at for some reason.
Megan, can you forward this to Larry, please? Yeah, Megan, if you don't mind, at the end of the stream, share your account and routing number. I promise I will only extract the sufficient money required to compensate me for the super chats that I have lost that I haven't even read yet.
Did you and have fun trying to weed through which ones are yours and which ones are mine? Because I had to read all your super chats.
You didn't have to. You just did.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Did you see my thumbnail? Did you see my thumbnail, Larry?
Your thumbnail where?
You didn't see my here, look.
For an hour and a half. Why does that language sound so familiar? It's like I've heard it on another channel recently.
She's so proud of herself.
I know.
You are not a nice person.
Are you talking about yourself, Megan? Is that?
Yeah.
Did you just?
Well, it's sort of my fault she found out about that. I mean, I sent a super chat on your channel, and she's like, "What are you doing out there in Larry's channel?" I mean, I'm just hanging out with 3,000 other people.
Like, what? He's been gone for an hour and a half.
For an hour and a half. It's like, okay, I guess now we're even. Now we're even. I want my $200 back, Megan. I'm just kidding.
And thus, the totality of the circumstances leading to the court's determination are relevant for any reviewing court to consider. And that would include that counsel has been representing the respondent since November 13th.
Larry's face.
Here it goes. Here it goes.
Continuously for nearly 3.5 months.
Yeah, I'm ready.
The respondent had counsel in place within 12 days of being served.
So, Megan, you said what? 16 minutes. We're at minute 17, and he's going through the record again. So,
Oh, no. I should have stuck with 45.
Regardless of whether you are reluctant to call them motions to continue or why they were motions to continue, nonetheless, the court found good cause on prior occasions, including November 29, December 1, December 5.
Wait, sorry. There's a poll. Oh my
He
God!
can't see my
Fucking-
poll.
Are you serious?
It's
No.
on my stream.
Oops. Wait, I'm trying to zoom in. Hold on. Sorry. How long? What? How long will it take Larry to notice I'm streaming?
15 minutes.
An hour when the super chats aren't his. Where's the hour and a half? You should have. Oh, you should put hour and a half in
Should have
there.
said an hour and a half. I dropped the ball. On
that would have.
one.
That's okay, but that would have been glorious because whoever got that right would have been like that. Win the
Winning.
lottery for the day.
There's a poll.
There's a poll. But
And
I mean,
there was a thumbnail, which I posted to Twitter, by the way. So you just didn't see any of
no,
this.
I'm streaming. Who like just randomly scours through Twitter? Let's see what the news are while I'm streaming. Like what?
I know. I did wait till after the stream has started before I did tweet that out.
Smart.
Yeah.
So whoever voted an hour, I guess you guys win the 15%. 15%. You can't make this shit up. The universe has its own little jokes.
I'll have to end the poll.
What's 15% of 630? I'm curious now. There we go. 95 of you just won the lottery for the day, as far as I'm concerned. This is incredible. This is unbelievable stuff.
And now here we are again.
Yeah, here we are
on the
again.
Respondents motion.
Again and again.
Yes, the court found good cause on prior occasions, including November 29, December 1, December 5, January 4.
Did you
and
just
now
hear
here
it? Like
we are
Randy
again
just sighed deeply.
on respondents' motions to continue.
Here we go.
There was a hearing on November 29, at which time the Respondents' Counsel said the case could be concluded in minutes.
Oh my!
The court offered the following day to
Intercourse.
come to a final resolution. That was denied. Counsel for the respondent represented he would be in court the following Wednesday to conclude the proceedings. He failed to appear, and instead successor counsel came in, and I started that proceeding by saying, Mr. Shockett, I'm going to give you the continuance if you need it to get prepared. Number one, because I want you to be
Yeah, after
prepared.
you railed on him
Respondent's
for an hour
entitled
and
to
20
counsel
minutes.
of his choosing and to be prepared. And number two, because there was a change in circumstance in that a temporary injunction, which
On the
had
4th.
previously been denied by this court, had been entered. Then we came back by agreement January 4, at which time, among other things, there was a bomb threat.
He just
Which,
admitted that it
needless to
was
say,
continuance due
cleared
to
the
no fault of
courtroom
Randy and
and
Doreen.
thwarted the proceedings from continuing any further down the path. On that same day, we agreed to come back on January 26th for final hearing, in part due to the bomb threat. Intervening before the January 26th was the petitioners, fairly new at that time, counsel's motion to continue, which was then granted, which brought us to today's date, scheduled February 28. There have been complaints and pleadings filed with the court about the length of time it's taken, and now we're asking for another continuance. And I gotta question what really is the design and the desire when it would be inconsistent to complain about the length of time and at the same time ask for a fifth continuance. Additionally, there's been criticism and complaint and in pleadings before this court about the injunctive relief that, as a matter of law, if a continuance is granted under the subsection statutory
He's pounding the
section,
table now.
It must be 784-0485 subsection 5A, 5B, 5C.
Making
There's
noises.
good cause, the extension of the injunction that might
Judge
be placed on the
angry.
state also.
No likey.
This court entered an addendum that the respondent accepted. I read what I proposed as the addendum on December 6th.
It's true.
Counsel for the respondent said no objection.
Oh, seriously, send
I then
2/3 of your
said,
bill
"Take
to
a few
this
minutes.
guy.
I'm going to go and reduce it to writing. I'm going to hand it to you in writing. Please review it. Have your client review it." Both respondent and counsel said no objection, which is an agreement, a stipulation to those conditions. Yet, it keeps coming up in subsequent pleadings as a complaint, and I understand that, because he is restrained. I then, because of the ruling on December 29th, the first appellate court ruling since the October 2021 statutory change in the language, adding 6 words, and if you read footnote number 1 of the previous DCA, second DCA opinion, it is of substance and
Did you catch how excited he got when he's like, oh, another lawyer, I mean, another judge in another courtroom dinged you. Now I have the power to remind you of that. He got like, he sped
that's
up in
really
his speech
low.
even.
That's really low to
So
bring
this
that up.
is just
Because it's not even related to this case, right?
Not anymore, no.
Right.
Feather is gone.
It's just so pedantic. Like it's your law professor lecturing. Just make the damn ruling and put all of this in your decision. Just do that. Give all your reasons in your written decision. This is
Exactly.
absolutely
I think
unnecessary.
he believes that he has to repeat the record every time he's in about everything. Like, I don't think he knows he can just say, the record already reflects all of this, so let's move on. Because it's in the record. He thinks he has to read it into the record every hearing, I think.
He just likes the sound of his own voice.
He
Again,
does.
I think we all
the
kinda...
third time he's brought it up in this hearing, and it's only, what, 18 minutes in?
Yep, 20 minutes. Yep.
20 minutes.
Welcome to the shit show, Vices. Have you streamed or seen his previous hearings?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we're up to hearing 4 now.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you're almost caught up. Yeah, so you know. Cranky Granny goes, now you're even.
Yep.
Hour and a half for an hour and a half. I believe it was Hammurabi who said that 5,000 years ago. He said, hour and a half of super chats for an hour and a half of super chats. I think that's a direct quote from Hammurabi.
Yeah, like Mosaic law is an eye for eye, tooth for a tooth, hour and a half for an hour and a half.
Oh, is that what he said? Was it eye for an eye? I thought it was hour and a half for an hour and a
No,
half.
that was like Leviticus, I think, that said that.
Yeah, Aristotle.
Materiality, this court modified the addendum from this court's perspective more narrowly placing the restrictions, but nonetheless there were restrictions without opposition. There was the first motion to disqualify on December 21, order denying 1226, no writ sought. There's a second motion to disqualify, February 11, order denying February 14th, no writ sought.
He's so proud of his denials.
Despite the order denying the disqualification and no writ sought, and despite the fact that the writ of prohibition is the recognized proper avenue for immediate review of whether or not disqualification is an appropriate remedy, additional motions were filed on February 16th, 2 on February 18th, 1 on February 27th, all on behalf of the respondent. Additional requests by counsel for the respondent for hearing time. The court scheduling the hearing time for today.
Oh my God.
From the court's view, contrary to 9.100, which requires a writ to be filed timely to prevent further court action. And then 1 week prior to the hearings being set on the motions that were filed after the second order denying disqualification, counsel for the respondent files a third motion to disqualify. Order issued today's date, February 28th. Now, the motion to stay amounts to saying we plan in the future when we get to it, because, and I'm not belittling the intervening other requirements that counsel has both with court and outside of court, but saying I'm going to get to it, but I need more time to get to it because I got other more important things to do than my client's cause in this case, so let's continue it again. It says that there's already been a ruling creating further grounds for disqualification, so another motion for disqualification is likely to come.
And by the way, every time he says, so there was another ruling on a motion for disqualification, he's literally saying, I denied you, and then I denied you again, and then I denied you again, and then, oh yeah, I denied you again. And then, and then I'm going to keep denying you everything you give me, I'm going to deny. Like, that's literally what he's saying in his head.
Writ, I don't know which, but you've had time to do each. The rules require it to be timely. The court's investing itself again, and you're asking for a continuance, but you don't want to call it a continuance. You want to call it a stay. And
even the judge doesn't care what you call it.
Yeah.
Because it's effectively a continuance under 2.545E.
And again, this should have been over the minute that Silverman said, yeah, I don't have a problem with the continuance.
Do so.
Or stay,
In a second, yes, you can.
Wait, what did he say? Sorry.
Call it a continuance, you want to call it a stay. And the court still, because it's effectively a continuance under 2.545E, needs to find good cause, and I'm having a hard time do so.
May I be heard, Judge?
Oh, he's having a hard time doing so. Okay, again, I know, Megan, you've seen a lot of court hearings. Vices, you may have been to and or seen court hearings. When both lawyers come in, like in the Johnny Depp trial, for example, has there ever been, let's take the trial of the century for just a second. Has there ever been a motion before Judge Ascarati where neither Ben Chu nor Rottenborn or whoever was in front of her. And they're like, Your Honor, we have no objection. And this side goes, Your Honor, we have no objection. We're both in agreement. And the judge is like, I don't care. I'm going to do my own thing.
No, I've never seen that.
That's literally what he just said.
Judges are normally like, oh, great. Shit, I don't have to do. Let's move on.
Yep.
And not only am I going to do my own thing, I'm going to talk about it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And then he denies it when they're both in agreement that he should have it. It's just, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I've never seen anything like it ever. I've never seen two lawyers say, Judge, we agree that this is what should be done. And the judge is like, well, I don't think, not so fast. What?
Mm-hmm.
But the hearing should literally have ended right that second.
Isn't
All right,
the
okay,
judge?
boom, here we are. It's continued.
Yeah,
Next
let's get a
date
new
is this,
date
or-
and
yeah.
I'll stay the proceedings. But he goes on for another at least 25 minutes in this
15
hearing.
minutes. Isn't
In the first part.
Isn't his job as a judge, though, to
Yeah.
only adjudicate when there are disagreements? Isn't that really what a judge does? A judge makes the call when two sides disagree. A judge is not supposed to make calls contrary to agreement in the courtroom, is he?
Say that again. Sorry. The judge is not supposed to what?
A judge is not supposed to make adjudications based on contrary to agreements made in the courtroom. He is supposed to adjudicate disagreements, right?
No, not necessarily. It depends. In the interest of justice may trump. I'll give you a prime example. We had this DUI case in front of a judge one time, and I love this judge. I have not one bad thing to say about her, honestly, and we've never had an issue in her courtroom. One day we came in, this case was like, I don't know, maybe 18, 24 months old. It was an old case in their defense, but the client ended up firing their previous lawyer like a year plus later and then hiring us. So we were only on the case a few months. And we come in and we're like, Your Honor, we're still looking into this. You know, the Commonwealth has no objection. You know, the prosecution has no objection to a continuance. We need a continuance. Can we please get a continuance? And the judge was like, no. And we're like, I'm sorry? What? Did you just say no? We're both in agreement. What do you mean no? She's like, no, this case is old. I don't want this clouding my docket. In the interest of justice, there's the key word, I am going to set a jury trial date. And we're like, but we don't want a jury trial date. We don't want to go to trial. Neither of us wants to try this stupid case. We're going to resolve it. She's like, I don't care. It's going to trial. It's at least, sorry, she didn't say it's going to trial. A jury trial date is set. And that way she's moving the docket forward she gave us like 4 or 5 months. This was not like you're going to trial next week or anything crazy.
So you could still have time to settle it before that.
But she's like, she set a hard and fast, and it's like, if you don't get it resolved by this, then I don't care. You guys are going to trial.
Yeah, I got it.
But
that was like to force you. That was to force you to get it done.
Because it was an old case. I understood the judge. I felt it. Yeah.
That makes sense. And I guess technically this is an old case too, but it's old because it's his fault.
Yes.
It's his fault. He did not administer justice promptly. And these people were entitled, both of them, the plaintiff and the defendant, were entitled to a hearing on this in good time, not this 5 months nonsense. So now he's complaining that he got caught being biased and he doesn't want to give them the stay. And there's no excuse for it. There's no interest of justice here.
None whatsoever. This is weird. This is, so weird. Oh, by the way, I want to share this. Mo in the deep end is so close, you all. 1.95. Let's get it to at least 2,000. We just need 50 people. There's like 3,500 here. 50 people. Just hit that subscribe button here. I'm going to do it with you right here. Subscribe. Boom.
I can think of one person that could do it.
I know one too. Come on, Vices. No, I'm just kidding.
I've subscribed ages
we're
ago.
both subscribed.
I didn't know. I didn't know about Mo.
Oh, you gotta have her on in her turtle wig. She is funny. You will like her a lot. She is very funny. And she is the things that come out of her mouth. I tell you what. She is the one who coined the Tuft of Justice in the Kowalski case.
Oh.
Judge Tuft. That was all her.
That's cool.
I know. She's so funny. We were calling it Hare Island. But then Mo came up with the Tuft of Justice, and that really fit, for Judge Carroll. She is super funny. And she has this hilarious dog this puppy Fry who does her news with her, and so she has a doggo cam too, which is a fun thing. So definitely go.
And there we
sub to
go.
Mo in the Teeth
Sorry,
Bar.
2,000 subscribers.
Ah,
We got it.
nice.
We got it.
Woohoo! Yeah, perfect.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay. The inconsistencies that have been pled and pleaded by respondents' counsel are numerous. That's part of the totality of the circumstances. Whether it's I only need a few minutes, but now we've got 3.5 months and it's not enough. Whether it's complaints about additional delays, but now we're the party seeking a 5th delay. Whether it's complaints about the injunctive relief that counsel for the respondent and the respondent himself agreed to on December 6th, and then again in January when it was amended and more narrowly focused. There are 6 pending allegations for violation of the injunction. 1 implicating this attorney of record for the respondent, case 38-2023 MM497. There have been findings about violations of the Florida Supreme Court order AOSC 1122, the 8th Circuit Administrative Order 1.14 V2, Rule of Procedure 12.310 B4, and basically I'm being asked to delay a case again because we intend in the future to take further action by filing a writ, which we didn't timely do yet, and we say that we're going to. And I'm having a hard time determining that to be good cause for another continuance, a 5th.
Okay, may I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the timing of a writ of prohibition is when it's as soon as practicable. And Your Honor, we have a fundamental disagreement here. We feel it's very clear that when an order denying a motion to disqualify a trial court judge in this state, the law is very clear. It shouldn't take issue at all. It should simply say, and I think it's even in the bench bar handbook or the bar handbook, for the court, it says simply say it's denied as legally insufficient. When there's so much more in there, there's case law that says that creates an additional ground.
File the writ. We'd
Well,
be
no,
out of
no,
here.
no, that's not the remedy, Judge, because you have to give the court a chance
He spoke for
to rule on
23
it.
seconds before
So
he was
we are
interrupted.
filing a writ now based on the first 3. The problem here is the Hobson's choice, because he does have a feeling and a belief he has a right to take it up to the first. He has a right to file a motion to disqualify, and so his Hobson's choice is basically this: it's not untimely. Even the second one's not untimely. Even the first one's not untimely, given the history of this case. And we are not. This is really the second time we've asked for a continuance.
Explain what you mean to be by the first one.
The first
order,
motion to
By the way, for those of you who don't know, Hobson's choice is no choice at all. I think the analogy I've been offering may not be like the most accurate now the more that I think about it. The actual definition of Hobson's choice, if you go to Oxford Dictionary, a choice of taking what is available or nothing at all. I was saying it's basically like well, I guess no, the analogy still works. You know, the analogy I've been positing is imagine before you are 2 plates of food and they're both poisoned, you know, poisonous. One is going to kill you within 60 seconds. The other is going to kill you within 60 minutes. That's a Hobson's choice. Like, you're going to die. Your solution is you either take it or nothing at all. I guess maybe it doesn't really work. What am I thinking of? There's another allegory to this. I forget the term for it, the philosophical term, when you're offered 2 choices and they're both bad. What am I thinking of, Chad? Chad can probably help us out. I thought it was Hobson's choice, but I guess it was wrong. But the definition, the actual definition, so is Sophie's choice. That's right. Is that Sophie's choice? That sounds right. Sophie's choice.
That was the
definition.
movie with Cher.